Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I'm going to share with you a clip from a recent live event where myself, Jim Morgan, and Golden Skeeter hang out, and we're talking all things kind of card development and meta evolution for Splinterlands. We start off with Skeeter kind of speaking about certain cards that he thinks are maybe due for replication, older cards that have moved out of modern, and we'd like to maybe see something new and similar. But then also we talk about summoners and how the Splinters now identify thematically. It used to be fire was melee and water was magic, but now are there themes for different Splinters? We talk about that, and then we move into speculation about the multicolored summoners and just again evolution of the meta for Splinterlands. That's what the conversation's about today. I hope you'll stick around and stay tuned for this one, and if you want to be present for these live events, consider becoming a member of the YouTube channel, and you'll have access to member-only live events once a week, as well as lots of extra content that never reaches the public. So thanks, guys. Have an amazing day. God bless. What are some of your favorite cards that you like playing with regularly, Skeeter?
Even if he's not super amazing, the Hill Giant's probably one of my favorite cards just for his high health pool and tanking ability. I like the stun, and I like the art and the theme of the card too, but mainly I just have like a one BCX of a gold foil, the 2 mana reflect guy.
The 2 mana what?
Mana or magic reflect guy.
Magic.
On Earth, the shield guy.
Yeah. The failed summoner.
Yeah. So yeah, my failed summoner only has 6 health, and this guy has more. So then I'll play this guy quite a bit in like low mana Earth games. But other favorite cards, I wish Pellicore Bandit wasn't so good right now and prevalent. So now all my lineups have to have like a sneak defense pretty much.
Yeah.
That guy's really
so
good.
strong. So strong and so cheap still. Like 1.5 pennies for an amazing sneak attack monster. I know that there's lots of copies of it, but to me this card is like it's just so good. It's right up there. It's at least top 10 of all the sneakers because of the speed and the flight too, which makes you, if they don't have snare or flying, then you're 25% more evasive because of that. This is a very, very strong card.
Oh, I also, my favorite card right now, based on power, I like the Void Dragon a lot. The 5 mana phase and Void.
Yeah,
I think he should cost more mana. That guy should be at least 6 mana.
For what it is, I mean, the number of hit points is significant. You got like full tank, that 9 hit points is like tank status. Then you got phase, so you can dodge magic, and 5 speed is enough with the flying that you will dodge some things. This is a great card. This to me, if you've got like speed manipulation, such as, if Kitty is so like this thing with Kitty is just awesome, or even, but this thing with, what's the other dragon with the negative speed and the archery nerf?
Quicks.
I mean, this thing with Quicks is great. You get that 1 more speed essentially because of the nerf to your buddy or to your opponent. It's a great card. And Quicks, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to talk about other dragon summoners. I think Sispa could be good later on. I just don't think we have the cards to support it because all the really fast cards right now, or a lot of them, they already have like phase. Like Oceanus and the Void Dragon, they both have phase, but those would be like 2 best cards to get phase. So I think when there's more fast cards that come out, I think this could be a lot better.
Yeah. Jim, do you have anything to say about this? Because I have something I want to jump in there, but if you got a comment, I'll give you.
Go right ahead. I just am surprised someone actually said its name incorrectly.
That's what I thought you might want to I thought you might want to educate Skeeter about the proper pronunciation.
Yeah, so just so you know, that's not how you pronounce the name. It's actually pronounced syphilis. So whenever you pull this card, you have to tell him you got syphilis from the pack.
I find that this card is one of the examples of how I think that there's something I don't know if everybody knows this. I think probably people who watch me and people who are watching live know this already. But before I actually finish that thought, guys, if you're watching, drop a like. Thank you for hanging out today. Appreciate you all. But I think this card the thing about this card is that, like you just alluded to, Skeeter, is there can be future partnerships that make this more powerful. And I think this is actually one example of how you can think through the evolving meta and position yourself from an investment standpoint to benefit. And I think it's not always the case that every ability has these sorts of things, but like you said, a summoner with phase will be so much better once we get a really fast tank that doesn't have phase. And on the same note, not dragon, but you know, the blue one, epic, the blue Aquatus, who is dirt cheap. You know, you only need 46 copies of this thing. So you're talking like $60 for it. Look at this, $60 for a max summoner for $60. And the cards like this get significantly better as you get certain new tanks, for instance, that are really fast naturally and that don't have backfire. Maybe they have flight, maybe they have dodge, maybe they have, 5 or 6 speed. There are some monsters that are already like that. But, at some point in the future, you might just see a new tank drop with flight, with dodge, with phase. And it would be such an amazing partner for like a card like Aquatus. And if you see that happen, you need to be one of the first eyes that recognize that, because you can rush in and get like a $60 summoner in maybe in a moment like that. Or to your point, Skeeter, like the Thispa one, again, the same thing. I feel like Giant Killer is another example of how you can look toward the future and try and prepare yourself. Cards that have Giant Killer are going to be stronger and stronger as there are more and more 10 mana cost cards in play, and there's other examples of that too. But just looking at the library of abilities and the library of cards can help you unlock like expectations about where the future of the meta will go. And that's a really cool thought, because it's one of the ways that you can position yourself, I think, thoughtfully to benefit.
Yeah, exactly. It made me think of this, some of the notes that I typed up of like beta cards due for a reprint. And I was thinking of like Phantom of the Abyss and Elemental Phoenix. They both have 5 speed or more, flying and dodge. And when do you think they're going to print another card that has high speed, flying, and dodge? And if it happens to be blue, then Aquatus is just going to go have like a new best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, a card like this, I wonder if they might not issue something like that again in the near future, because can you imagine this thing with, about 3 or 4 different summoners? Like now the speed meta is so established, and you've got summoners with +2 speed, and you've now even got phase summoners, and you've got backfire summoners. It's like this card would be such a powerful new modern card if there was even something similar, let alone better. But this was released when summoners were kind of underwhelming in some sense. What do you think, Jim? Do you think we're gonna and Skeeter too? Like, are we gonna? Do you actually think that we'll get a new one of these or something like that? Tell me what that would look like. Would they iterate, or do you think this is overpowered by today's standards? Like, I want to hear any thoughts on this.
I think that we'll get something crazy after Rebellion for it. So it'll give us another card that's really good to combo with it for Wild. So I don't think they're gonna have it in Standard. I mean, because that thing really does need the Syphilis phase in order to be stupidly good. But with Aquatus, I don't think we're gonna get something.
This thing with Aquatus would be solid too. Not perfect, but yeah. Everything in this game has its weakness. But man, you put this with Aquatus, you're going to see some backfires.
A lot of them.
Yeah, so I agree with Jim. I don't think they're going to print this type of card in Standard again for a while. I think the game would have to power creep for another 2 or 3 years or something, and then when everything gets faster and stronger, we might get another card with 6 speed, flying, and dodge.
And for the non-Magic the Gathering nerds out there, standard means like what we would call wild, right?
Oh, right. I forgot it's called modern here. Whoopsie.
Okay, so standard is modern here. Is that how it goes?
Yes.
Okay. This is interesting. $300 for this amazing card. I'm adding to my wild deck, and I recently bought like a Ruler of the Seas. I bought several amazing cards. What's that spirit something from the neutral?
Spirit Hoarder?
Spirit, no, it's a magic. It's a neutral Spirit Miner. I bought a Spirit Miner the other day for relatively cheap. This is a great card. Dodge, Swiftness, Blind. So good. Look at this. $72 for a level 3 with the Dodge and Swiftness. And it's doing 2 damage output to 5. You get, look at this, $139. I mean, to me, this is a really great deal. This is one of the best.
That card was over $1,000 when I started playing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And gave me PTSD from losing against it all the time in bronze.
Yeah. It's so nasty. Like, I mean, in conjunction with, for instance, Ruler of the Seas, which gives you another plus, like a swiftness. So you get, and then you maybe use like Valnamore, who has a plus speed. You can make a blue team where the, what's it called? The Jin Oshanis in the first position has like, let's say 8 speed, phase, and force field, by the way, and good plus dodge. It's so nasty. If you build the right team, it's really it's more of a wild only kind of experience. But Spirit Miner is great. Phantom of the Abyss is great. What other cards are you curious about maybe seeing some sort of new releases on? Do you think that there's appetite for any other kind of possible new, like not replicas, but you know what I mean, revisiting some old cards?
Yeah, old cards. I think the snipers, like the Twisted Jester, the Pirate Captain, the Fire Beetle, they could all use a revamp because snipe meta is pretty weak right now. The Sneak is king. So I think that some more snipers need to come out. But I'm also really interested for Life to get its own version of Medalli Guardian, because Medalli Guardian on blue is just so strong with like Bakjira, and then you give Life the version with Uriel to give it heal and repair. And I think the Medalli Life version of Medalli Guardian would be really strong and needed for Life.
Yeah, that would be. This is in the conversation for one of the best healers in the game right now, with the heal and the repair, plus the strengthen, which augments your heal ability. Yeah, this thing is real good, and only 3 mana too. I know it has no damage, but sometimes that's okay.
Yeah, I'd be fine with like a 5 mana version that did like some archery damage or something. I think that'd be good.
Don't need reflective barrier if you don't attack, you know?
Yep, that's true. and you're right, the Life would certainly benefit from that repair as well as the tank heal. You have it, I think, only with, does Oshur Constantia do repair? No, it doesn't. Is there anything like that? Let's see, repair.
It's a Scale Doctor. You have one, and I've been looking to get one for a while.
The Adelaide Brightwing is in some sense, like, because the white team, you talked about the Medalli Guardian in the context of the white, I assume because the white is so successful with the armor and with Grandmaster Wraith. Is that why you brought that connection in your...
Exactly. It seems like Life's like the most defensive Splinter, so I'm kind of confused why Blue got the most defensive card to begin with.
That's interesting. You think they're the most offensive in your mind? That they're the offensive wonder?
I wouldn't say Blue's offensive wonder. Maybe right now, just from their Chaos Legion kit, but I feel like Life with that Peak Rider, I think it is, and the other old summoners, like Life just seems to be really good at like tanking a lot of damage and just like sustain and attrition, and you just wear them down with like heals, and you go in fatigue, and you can win by that way. I feel like that's Life's plan, but then Blue got Bakjira and Medalli Guardian.
What do you think, Jim, about like this is kind of a bit of a digression, but talk to me about like what's the new, who's the main offensive Splinter these days? Like I feel like in the old days, Fire was distinctly melee. I feel Blue was distinctly magic. And there was other things too, but like nothing. Those were the two that I felt were the most kind of obvious. And now I'm not sure if I really feel so clear cut about any of that. And in part, it might be because the lines get blurred because we have modern and we have wild and they feel different. But Jim, do you feel like there's is there an identity to some of these Splinters that really stand out to you? Or does it feel like there is maybe like blurred lines and they all do melee, they all do, what do you think?
So it is really hard to say which ones are a bit more offensive than others. You know, when you're just using Lux Vega for every single game, it's like they all blend in regardless, you know? They're all getting speed, HP, and armor. But other than that, it's it still kind of seems like red and blue are just the most aggressive ones. Because Scargor came out, and that is phenomenal. It's you punch me in the face, I'm gonna destroy you even more. Kelly came out with the speed control, and not to mention the cards from Chaos Legion, the melees that they got, the Deep Lurker, the Demon Shark, that Flying Squid. Dude, they are so good. Ridiculously good cards. And I'm kind of glad that they're stepping away of like, oh, white is only about defense, death is about debuffing. It's like, bring in some more variety for these colors because it's not just about one thing, you know?
I would say though that your Skeeter, I would lean towards what you alluded to, which is that the white is very defense first. That's not to say that they, like to Jim's point, that's not all they do. There is a complexity now in the game where you can build a very offensive white team in ways that weren't always so. But I think their first foot forward, like their primary, like maybe their ace up their sleeve, the white team to me is sustainability and outlast. If they can control you like through repairs and resurrects and heals, etc., or through divine shield or through more armor, etc., that's kind of more their play. And but General Sloan, you talked about this when we first started talking, kind of, you talked about how white life is one of the cheaper cards to buy. General Sloan is part of that story for sure. One of the most overlooked. We're talking $89 for a max General Sloan, and this thing is buffing. Like, this gets slept on, man. This is significant. Archery damage is very powerful, and I prefer magic. I think I even prefer melee, but this is actually, in my opinion, a strong card. Any thoughts on Beyond a Life, Skeeter? That, like, do you feel there's themes with the blue or the red or the green or the black or the dragon even?
I definitely feel like the theme for green is just like Timmy mode. If people don't know what that is, Timmy is like a way to describe players where you just want to play big, dumb, stompy creatures like dragons and stuff. So green.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Okay, dinosaurs.
There we go, dinosaurs too. I just have a dragon magic deck, so I guess I lean towards that. So I think greens for like big stompy creatures with like no armor are pretty good at that, and then death seems to be more like offensive oriented, I guess, because they don't really get that many heals or like armor repair or anything. So when I build the death
debuffs,
team, or debuffs. So when I build a death team, I'm like, I can't. I have to think about how I'm going to beat like a Bakjira or something else. So I'll bring in a range guy quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, really, it's just the corrupted Pegasus for the tank heal over here.
Yeah.
Unless you're bringing out some neutrals. Yeah, Twisted Jester, you mentioned that earlier, and Bobby's agreeing. It's so slow these days, whereas it used to be one of the faster monsters. I think it has 4 speed, and I remember feeling like it was a fast monster.
Same.
Ivan, it's bound to happen. I've been picking up cheap recharge cards in prep. Yeah, I think recharge. The chat was talking about how recharge could have one of those upgrades. Like somehow something changes about it, because I think recharge is an ability in this game that is people don't like. They mostly don't use it. There's only really the angel from the white team that gets a lot of love, and it has recharge. But there could be some sort of ability or some sort of summoner or some sort of like synergy that changes how that operates that might really transform the price point on some of those cards, maybe. Virus said, might be able to use it in life if the dual color promo summoner is life and water. That would be cool. Yeah, Virus, hey, good to see you, bud. And he's, because he's kind of answering your comment there, Skeeter, saying, you could maybe bring the Mardelli Guardian over to the life, because we know we're going to get the multicolor summoners. Let's talk about that for a minute or two here. In the recent town hall, they talked about how we're going to get those summoners that will cover more than one Splinter. And they talked about how the next promo card was going to add something new. If we went to the town hall post, maybe I can do that quickly. No, I can't find it that fast. On the town hall post, the wording of it was like the new promo card is going to bring something new, and I think it might be one of the first multicolor summoners.
Ooh.
Thoughts, expectations? What do you think?
That's hard to say, because just bringing out one for a multicolor.
This is what they said about the new Splinterlands promo card May 2nd. A game mechanic first in a series opens up new gameplay. So first in a series would mean, in my mind, we could see one summoner that has, fire, water, and then we could see next month or whatever, we could see another one that's earth, death, or whatever. I haven't heard anybody else agree with me. This is just my own, I'm thinking. Skeeter, Jim?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a dual color summoner, just because if they come out with whatever the color scheme is for it, all the other colors aren't going to get anything.
For now.
For now. But that's like a month plus of like this card being maybe a little crazy. I don't know.
A little overpowered. Skeeter, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it'll be definitely really strong if you can combine two summoners together, two colors. I think if they were going to release one at a time, they'd probably do some weaker colors first and not include blue. So I think it would be more like life and green or life and death, as someone else in chat said, Virus.
Yeah, that sounds kind of smart. If they're going to do it, but let's focus for a minute just on this wording. Am I reading too far into it? First in the series, that makes me think there's going to be many of whatever they're going to launch. There's going to be several of them, and then opens up a new gameplay. That's why. What do you think about the wording there? What other speculative suggestions might come to mind to one of you guys or both of you, if not the multicolored summoners? Because they did specifically say in the town hall, we're going to do the multicolored summoners. That's happening. And then later on, they talked about the promo card in this way. So maybe I'm connecting dots wrongly, but do you see is there some other suggestion for what this means in your mind, Skeeter or Jim?
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming to that conclusion, and I can't think of anything else that they could do. So I don't know. Maybe you're right.
I was gonna say, this is me thinking, this is fresh thoughts here. As I go down and scroll down and I see possible mini set. Remember they talked about the possible mini set. If the partnership with that studio, whoever that happens to be, if that actually manifests, what if they did like a mini set that had one summoner for each Splinter, so instead of like my suggestion of releasing one summoner that's multicolored, you just go ahead and release a mini set that has 4 summoners or 3 or whatever it is. And then that way you get them all at once. That could be a possibility.
Yeah, that would make most sense to me. Maybe their promo is a pack that you can buy that has, 2 cards in it or even 1 card in it, and you have 4 or 5 different summoners that you can get.
Interesting. That'd be cool.
And that's where the multicolor come into play.
That'd
But
be cool.
just to
So there'd be a
release
bit of
one,
luck
maybe
in
one.
opening it. I'd want to buy those packs.
Yeah, definitely. So my first thought when I heard this from someone's like description of the town hall, I think it might be yours. I thought it would just be like a new ability, but now they say like new mechanic and opens new gameplay. It makes me think it's more than just a new ability. Could be something I would next thought would be related to land somehow, but land's not quite playable yet. So
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what they mean with this this wording.
Yeah, me neither. I'm definitely speculating, but I've gone on quite a limb over here talking about the promo card and about I talked about even the mini set. I'm kind of quietly but publicly speculating that the mini set might have something to do with Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it's only because that IP is actually relaunching in a major way right now. Plus, it's awesome. Plus, it has enough characters that you could imagine it could partner with a game like this and come up with a mini set. Whereas, there's not a lot of sort of IPs out there that I would think would be interested in partnering with. Like, I don't picture Disney kicking down the doors to partner with Splinterlands. I don't picture Marvel or DC. So then, like, who is it? That's why. So I'm kind of out on a limb here over the last couple of weeks, making some pretty wild predictions. But we'll see if they come to play. It's gonna be fun to figure out what the mini set is. It's gonna be fun to figure out what this new promo card is, regardless. And it's gonna come. It's coming in just a couple weeks here, which will be awesome. But guys, I gotta go get the kids at school, so I gotta let you go. But before I do, Skeeter, thanks for coming, and I would love to have you back on. Jim, as always, buddy. I love you and appreciate you coming to hang out. And yeah, let's try and set up a Friday night one of these nights soon, and I'll come over to Splinterlands TV. Anything you guys want to shout out, Skeeter? Any way that the guys can follow you? Do you do any socials or anything like that?
No, I don't really have any socials.
Okay.
I mean, I have a Twitter, but I just follow people on it.
Okay. And Jimbo, let them know about the time slots for Splinterlands TV.
Oh yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me. As always, it's pretty much always great, except for some of those times it's not, but we don't talk about those times. And I'm just memeing, guys. It's always great hanging out with Dwayne. All right, please don't cancel me. And for the stream team, yeah, I'm streaming Wednesday night. What are my time frames again in PST? Midnight, pretty much midnight PST.
Okay.
On Friday nights. Going into Saturday.
Bye for now, guys. Thanks everybody out in the chat. Thanks for the likes, the subscriptions. Thanks for Blaze for the diamond. And guys, have an awesome day. God bless.